Hey guys, I'm Kyle with Lone Peak. In this video, I'm going to show you how to pick a pickup truck for overlanding. I'm going to start with a little bit of a buzzkill. I think most trucks are amazing trucks.
You sure about that?
We're all about like equality here in 2025. Everybody makes some amazing things. There are a few exceptions. The Cybertruck is off that list. That thing is a joke. So honestly, I would choose a truck based on reliability and comfort more than just, hey, your buddy has a taco and thinks it's awesome and everybody on Instagram does too. All right, next up is the essentials category. When you're looking at these vehicles, let's say you've sat in all of them, you sat in the Frontier, you sat in the Colorado, you sat in the Taco. How do you know where to start? I'm gonna give you one essential and one nice to have when you're thinking about overlanding: four-wheel drive. So if you don't have four-wheel drive, the way that your differential, that's the gearbox in the back of your truck, works, it's called an open differential, and it's gonna put power to whatever wheel has the least resistance. So if you lose traction and you're digging a hole or you have a wheel up in the air, your car is gonna put power towards that wheel, and it means you're not gonna go anywhere. So four-wheel drive means that you will actually engage your front wheels and it will get you out of that spot and give you more traction. That is an absolute essential. A nice to have here is what we call a rear locker. A lot of vehicles have these, and what it does is it transforms your rear differential into just like a straight axle. It means that both wheels just turn at the same rate. You don't do this on pavement because you would get some chatter as you're going around a corner, but off-road, it means that you're not gonna lose traction with those wheels and they're locked. They're super nice. So as long as you have four-wheel drive, you can get honestly to probably 80% of the places that you wanna go. I had a stock F-150 for a long time. And even before that, it just didn't have four-wheel drive, but I had a Hyundai Elantra. And I went many places in that thing. One other essential to throw into this category is tires. Don't be going on roads like this with just like a normal, I don't even know what you call them, Comfort Plus, I don't know. Get an all-terrain tire, BF Goodrich, KO2s, KO3s. Stay away from the mud tires, guys. I had some on my truck for a while. I went in mud in Moab and I still got stuck in mud. As they progressed in their life, they got super noisy and were just kind of annoying.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
So honestly, just stay away from that. They're kind of lame. All right, now that we've chosen a vehicle that we like that has four-wheel drive, the next big question to answer is, do you want a mid-size or a full-size? And I would choose mid-size any day of the week, as long as you're not carrying a ton of people and a ton of gear. I chose a full-size because I got 3 kids, a wife, and tons of gear because I'm constantly going to trade shows. The reason I say to choose a mid-size, for example, is that you have a lot more off-road capability with a smaller vehicle because you have a shorter wheelbase. And the example here is, let's say you have a Toyota Tacoma off-road trim. There's something called a breakover angle, which is basically how much stuff can you crawl over without hitting the bottom of your truck. It's a measure of that. It's about 24 degrees, depending on the year and the trim and all that. And that has, you guys, I should probably know this, but correct me, it's around 31 to 33 inch tires, something like that from the factory. My truck, a 22 Raptor, has the same breakover angle with 37 inch tires. And that means basically the same off-road ability, if you will, with giant tires. So it just means that you're gonna be able to get to more places with a smaller truck with a shorter wheelbase. Now that we've chosen mid versus full size, the next question is, what trim level do I get? Now, the baseline is basically anything that has four-wheel drive, and all of the higher end trims basically have fancier suspensions. So there's 2 routes you can go. You can get, say, like a TRD off-road model that has four-wheel drive and maybe upgrade your suspension, or the other route is you can pay more money. Again, this is kind of all budget dependent, and get something like the TRD Pro that has this crazy old man emo suspension in it straight from the factory. So I basically went the first route with my F-150s, basically bone stock, and upgraded the suspension. We're not gonna get into all the components here, but I basically did a coilover lift on the front. So it lifted my truck up so I could fit bigger tires, so I could have more ground clearance, so I could have a better breakover angle. That's why you do all this stuff. And then I had a rear spacer block in the rear, upgraded all the shocks. Super stoked, because this was before I started Lone Peak. I had to have a truck that kind of looked off-roadish. Got it on a trail, and I absolutely hated the suspension. I didn't know. It wasn't adjustable even after the fact, so I just kind of had to live with it. So my point I'm making here is that I trust OEMs. They're gonna build the truck for its purpose. Something to kind of highlight this, there was a video by Donut Media. These guys are awesome. Go check out their YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. And they did a shock comparison of all these major, super expensive aftermarket shocks, Fox, King, Icon, and they had wildly different results with all of them. And that, to me, I honestly lost a little bit of faith in aftermarket components because OEMs just know how to make things. They have all the engineering dollars to put into this stuff. So my recommendation, if you have a little bit higher of a budget, try to get it from the factory and don't mess with it and just take it out and enjoy nature. All right, so last part of this video, I want to let you into my thinking, kind of the decision tree that we've laid out for you on why I bought a Raptor. This is a 22 Ford F-150 Raptor with the 37 package. So going through the decision tree, obviously it has four-wheel drive. It is a full size because I got 3 kids, wife, tons of gear. I've had an F-150 for a while. I actually love how much space is in the back. It's comfortable, it kind of fits my style. Now getting into this is like the fanciest trim package you can get on one of these trucks. I have been in several scenarios. So on my old F-150, I had 33-inch tires with a slight, about 2-inch lift. It was primarily in Moab, but some out here, actually up this hill. I've gotten high-centered a number of times and had to get myself unstuck because I lacked that breakover angle that we're talking about. Now, that's like the minority. That's the 10 to 20%, not even that, probably the 5% of times that I would need a vehicle like this. Really, in this whole industry, that's what we're doing. We're paying for capability. You're paying, when you buy a camper, you're paying for the ability to go out and adventure whenever you want. A truck like this, I'm paying for the ability to go anywhere, anytime. Basically, I'm trying to get the biggest tire size I can to be able to go where I want. And the big thing is that this has a 37-inch spare tire underneath the truck. So if you see guys that have a rear bumper swing out that has their spare tire on it, I didn't want that. I use my truck so often with my camper and drop my tailgate, it would ruin my workflow. The next thing is that it has a locking rear differential. We talked about that, so I can get more traction. And the reason I chose this year range, so Ford, when they came out with the Raptor R, they took away, it's not necessarily a locking front differential. It's called a Torsen front diff. When you lose traction in the front, it will actually automatically lock the front axle to act like a locked front axle. And they took that away with the Raptor R, which I think came out in 24. So this was the last, I think this, 22 and 23 were the last 2 years that they actually had the Torsen front diff. And so that was really important to me, to literally just be able to lock all my tires, have a lot of ground clearance, have a spare tire, have my family and gear, and go wherever I want. So that's my thinking. I hope this video helped you to understand kind of the process of how to decide how to get a truck. You go out, go to a bunch of dealerships, find the one you like, and we'll see you in the mountains. You get a truck, you get a truck, you get a truck. The Honda Ridgeline, sorry guys, apparently it's like a really highly rated vehicle, but it's not actually a truck.
Same, but different.
So if you don't have four-wheel drive, the way that your differential not gonna go anywhere. A rear locker, it means that both wheels just turn. Should I make that more concise?